Hello and welcome to the Industry Week Book Club. I'm Industry Week Senior Editor Laura Poutre. Today I'm talking with Michael Collins. He's the author of Dismantling the American Dream, a new book that looks at the consequences of offshoring U.S. jobs and critical industries over decades, what the costs have been, and what can be done to rebuild what we've lost in a new economy. Michael spent 35 years in manufacturing, working as a vice president and general manager for Columbia Machine in Vancouver, Washington, which designs and builds robotics and other heavy equipment for industry. Welcome, Michael.
Hello.
It's great
Good
to have
morning.
you today. So tell me, why did you write this book and how is it different from other books on manufacturing in America?
Well, as you pointed out in your introduction, I worked for and with the multinational corporations for 35 years and got into their plants, got to know their plant managers and executives pretty well and followed their strategies. And in the early 1980s, they, as most people know, re-engineered their companies and they adopted the Milton Friedman, who was an economist, doctrine that read they were refocused on shareholder value and short-term profits, period. This adoption led to offshoring their production and jobs and an all-out effort to reduce labor costs, which ended up being the loss of 7.5 million manufacturing jobs since 1979. And it was the collapse of many cities and towns in the heartland, and eventually the loss of technologies and industries to their competitors. This ended up being a struggle for most of the middle class. And so subsequently, the title of the book was Dismantling the American Dream. How is it different? Well, when I started out researching the book and doing a proposal, I looked for any books that were critical of what the multinationals had done since 1980, and there were very few. It was almost like they got a free pass to do whatever they wanted to do in the economy. The story is about not only what they did, but how they did it. And it was triggered by a commitment they made in 2018. 181 CEOs got together and decided they were going to change themselves. They were going to change their strategies to support all stakeholders. So I'm taking them at their word, and to do that, they're going to have to overcome or come up with solutions to the many problems they caused, which are described in great detail in 19 chapters of the book.
So what kind of research went into the book, and what did you discover as you were researching?
Well, the research, actually, I started writing when I retired in 2004, and I began writing articles. And so I wrote a lot of articles about the multinationals and about the problems of manufacturing over a period of almost 20 years. So in researching each of those individual articles, when I finally got to the point of doing the book proposal, I had an enormous amount of research already, so I was very prepared to get in and describe the individual problems.
Yeah. And you were looking at Bureau of Labor Statistics data, a lot of that, and just how the jobs have gone away over time.
Yeah, in fact, I became pretty good at getting into the Bureau of Labor Statistics database, the Census Department, the Bureau of Economic Development, and all the government databases. So the the problems described and the solutions in the book are really based on government data.
And what and you'd write about certain manufacturing roles going extinct in the US, pretty much dwindling down to almost nothing. Can you talk a little bit about these critical roles and
Well,
is
when
there
I
any hope of bringing them back?
yes, that's the question. I Back in 1991, when I wrote my first book, the Deloitte and the Manufacturing Institute started doing surveys on skilled workers. And the skilled worker, there have been 7 research studies done, and I have them all. And it turns out that we've lost an enormous number of not just manufacturing jobs, but critical skilled jobs. The 4 biggest ones that I think are the basis of, or the industrial commons, are machining, tool and die, uh, tool and die works, foundry and forging, and the maintenance, technical maintenance that goes into operating all these advanced lines. We've lost an enormous number of those, and they have not, and the multinationals did not invest in these kinds of training programs because they are apprentice type training and they take thousands of hours to complete. So as these people retire, we've gone further and further into the hole. Now, these 4 categories are the foundation of what we call the industrial commons, because these jobs and these industries serve all the other manufacturing industries.
And I saw we had a comment there from a viewer, a nice comment. You mentioned forging and foundry and tool and die. Some people watching this might think those are like antiquated industries, and like it's fine if they just go away to like a lower cost country. Like, what do you say to that?
Well, foundry and forging, probably we've lost 80% of all those jobs and companies. It's true, but we're now faced with trying to reshore major industries, and we're not going to be able to really reshore a lot of the industries that have gone overseas unless we can get a U.S. base for forging, foundry, machining, and the other critical jobs. It's just going to happen. We're going to have these advanced, skilled journeymen.
What can government and industry do? What do they need to do to bolster manufacturing? And how long is that going to take? Can it be done now?
I think since the multinationals really chose to not invest in long-term training that takes thousands of hours, it's back to the government. I think we're going to have to. I don't think it'll be solved unless government steps in and subsidizes advanced or apprentice type training. And we also would need if the multinationals are really serious about all stakeholders, they're going to have to step up and start investing in this long-term training too.
Do you see hope for, you talk a lot about the legacy manufacturing cities that were gutted over decades, like Danville, Illinois, and Youngstown, Ohio. Where do you see hope, and is there a new model for manufacturing in cities like those?
Well, I think it's based. I think there is hope to bring back many of those cities. Those cities all have a background and a lot of experience in manufacturing already, but I think it's based on the training. If we have the opportunity to reshore many of the industries is clearly there today, but we're going to need the training in these cities to bring, if we do bring them back.
Well, thanks so much for talking with me, Michael. I just want to tell readers, Industry Week readers, that Michael's columns share some of the data, like shocking data from the book, and and then there's more. That's just kind of a teaser for what's in the book. But just reading and editing his columns, I've it really opened my eyes to how much we've lost. So thank you so much for coming today. I really appreciate you talking about your book.
You are welcome.
All right, everybody, have a great day.